We're right outside of the official April deadline for those who want to file on time, but I want to build a case for filing the extension. Ideally with a payment if we can do it, but at least give yourself that extra time.
If you own a business, tax season is not just April, it's all year. I'm Mildred Dillon, CPA, and in this quick episode, I'm breaking down what you need to handle now so April doesn't handle you.
We all want to file on time, but what I want to do in this episode is really build a case for why you might want to consider filing an extension, even if it's just 1 month. Sometimes we don't need 6 months extra time, nor should you take 6 months. Maybe you can do it in 30 more days. But here's the thing. Clients that I work with are larger businesses who've been with me for years. It's just kind of known. We're not going to put that pressure on ourselves because we have the right to file that extension. But you can file a payment with that extension. And those are really my favorite types because we're doing two things here. We're paying our taxes when they're due or what we think they'll be, but we're still taking that extra time to make sure. Trust me, as business owners, we don't want to overpay our taxes. And what does that mean? Pay too much when we were entitled to pay less. It's our right to pay less tax. So let's take the time to make sure. But let's also not pay penalties and interest so that we waste money owing and paying taxes late when we had accounting systems in place and knew we were going to owe.
And that's actually a plug for my ABC accounting system setup. I really want to emphasize that it's not too late to put that system in place. You can do it in 30 minutes. And I'm actually doing it with you in our Dreamers cohort. We'll be dealing with the business finances, the numbers, how to read the reports, what are the red flags that lenders are going to see in those reports. We'll be dealing with that in the next couple of weeks. And it's going to go backwards and be able to grab those transactions so that you have a clearer idea of where you stand for taxes, really for even this year to date for estimated taxes. I touch on that in recent podcasts of this year, but all of that, we can get that clarity with numbers and the totals for the taxes if we have that system in place.
So if last year is maybe not done or you're not sure about it or you're still manual, this is what I'm telling folks who call me. Let's go ahead and get this system in place because that's where that comfort level is going to come in, that we got everything and we're going to take advantage of all of our deductions. That's so exciting. And even especially if I'm going to be involved with a new client and they're adding stuff on a spreadsheet and they think they're going to owe tax, but they're not sure. I just have to recommend that because we're definitely going to have something like that in place moving forward. And so since we can go backwards, why not do that? So filing an extension, here's some things you want to think about. You don't have all of your documents or you're just not sure. Or you didn't do what's called pull a transcript to make sure you got all your documents, because that was some of the advice that I gave them. I said, if you're wondering if you got that 1099 from the sale of your property last year, they reported to IRS, you will see it on that transcript. So pull your transcript from IRS. If you think that your document is wrong, I'm seeing that more and more in the IRS publications that are coming out. And I do follow those very closely. I get notifications when there are updates. One of the things that they're really harping on is if you think your numbers are wrong. And that's true. Trust me, if you're filing an extension and you're waiting until October to file and those numbers are wrong, guess what? It's probably not going to work for you because they're not going to go back. The payer is who they're called when they give you a 1099, or your employer, they're giving you a W-2. That's the problem. So at least look at everything. And if we need to, file the extension, because here's what happens. If you file wrong, here's a crazy part on one of the publications I saw just recently. They're encouraging people to file without their W-2. Now, by now, you should have had your W-2s, 1099s. So they're now telling people, here's a way for you to file without those documents. But here's the, not so much fine print, but it's that last line. But if you get your W-2 and the numbers are different, you're going to need to file an amended return. Now, that's the return we want to avoid filing, because now you're making them look at your return so much more closely. So if there's any chance those numbers could change, that's when you want to file an extension to give you more time for the real numbers to come in or for the real numbers to be corrected. Because yes, there are ways to correct your 1099. There are ways to correct your W-2. Let's take advantage of those so that we're not having to file amended returns and draw all of that extra attention to your return. Yes, I've been through this. Okay, I've been through this. I did this. And look, he got his money eventually, but they looked at every single number that we didn't even ask about. They looked at every single number on that return. So no, let's avoid those if at all possible. Here's another reason to file an extension. If you are married and your spouse has a business and you know they don't have it together. I see it all the time. One spouse works a job, they want to get their refund. The other spouse has a business and full time, and they need to do all the things you hear me talking about in these podcasts. Yeah, you know they're not ready, but you go run and file without them. Now, unless you're filing separate, don't do that. You're going to cause you guys to need that type of return I just said you don't want to file, the amended return, because when they do go to file, that's going to change your numbers if you're filing jointly. And let's face it, you get more tax breaks and it's more favorable tax treatment when you file jointly. When you're married, check with your spouse and make sure that their numbers are ready to be included with that return. If not, that's an excellent reason to file an extension. Here's another one. I know you guys are saying, wow, she don't want to file taxes. Listen, I don't want to file taxes wrong, because that's 2 tax returns where you file an amended return. You got to go back in and start putting more numbers in. Here's what we did wrong. Now we got to go back and here's what we should have put. Here's the difference. Now explain to us why you're doing it. So no, I don't want people rushing to file. And then when they find out about this podcast later and they hear me or they see a post and they realize, oops, honey, did we include your business on the return? No, we didn't. I told you I wasn't ready. Role playing here. Guess what? That's when you absolutely, totally want to file an extension. Here's another big one, and I don't see this talked about often. Part of what I'm doing with my clients is really finding out what is the objective for this return. Are we trying to use this return to get a loan of any kind or financing? Or do we need these returns for some kind of special program? What's the purpose of filing? It's funny, I sent out my little tax quote link and it's really quick to get through. And there are like 4 or 5 different objectives for filing. Get the IRS off my back. I want to get the largest refund I can. If you want to see that, I'll jot that in the show notes so you can see it. But yeah, the goal is to let me know before I even talk to someone, what are we trying to do with the taxes? Because it matters. Depending on if we're trying to get a loan and you're self-employed 100%, or again, if you're part of a household that has a business and that business is going to be looked at, then listen, we need more time. We need more time to pull in the lenders. We need more time for us to get together to make sure the numbers are right before we get those over to the lenders. Because even if we send new numbers, look what's happening. Well, what changed? Okay, what line was that? See, that's just causing confusion. So we want to get it together so we can help you get the loan or get the capital. It could be venture capitalists. People are lending money, but they're going to want to see numbers too in most cases before they do that. And so if you're trying to get other people's money at all, mortgage, business loan, anything, let's take some extra time to look at the numbers. I'm still having the meetings though with everyone. We're still touching base. We're still looking at last year's numbers. Okay, here's your total revenue. Let's go through it and make sure we're not including things that aren't revenue, including things that aren't sales. These are some of the things that we're still doing. Let's talk about how much we're going to pay with the extension. Yeah, these are some big drafts out of their account. I want us all to be on the same page and understand where that number's coming from. And so, yes, I'm having meetings as if I'm filing, it feels like, but it's worth it. to give us more time. So again, following the extension, ideally with a payment if we can do it, but at least give yourself that extra time. And notice I keep saying give us, because hey, I can help you out with this. I have some really neat ways to get tech involved to speed the process. So on the accounting side, you heard it, but even with taxes, I've got people now clicking and snapping and uploading their documents. They don't have to come to my office. So let's just begin to think more like the times that we're in.
Okay, so you can reach out to us anywhere on social media at YourMoneyDR. Just know that if it's tax related, the Money Doctor team will be sending you right on over to me, the CPA side of the house. So if you know you have tax matters specifically, then you can reach me directly at my Instagram page, mdilloncpa. That's 2 L's, 1 I. Dillon CPA. Also, you can go to my website at mdilloncpa.com for any kind of tax matters. If you need that accounting system, then we're going to do kind of a hybrid thing, of course, through our Dreamers program, dreamers.yourmoneydr.com. If you go there, you'll be able to see what we're doing in month 2. It's all about these numbers for the business. And just think about it. If we can tackle that during the month of May, we could possibly get you filed by the end of May, definitely by the beginning of June. It's totally up to you. Okay, so I'm going to say thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast if you are just finding us. If you have, thank you so much. Please leave us a review if you're enjoying this content. We just appreciate you so much. And in the meantime, I'm going to say make it a great day, especially for your money. Mildred Dillon, CPA, founder of The Money Doctor, signing off.
This episode is a video episode. You can catch it on our YouTube channel, Your Money DR.